Yo, what is up, future me? Today is Monday, May 27th. It is 7:19 p.m. No hat today. We're going straight with the man bun. This one's gonna be kind of short, but kind of not. So, little bit of a life update. Well, first of all, before I do the life update, I'm outside, obviously, and it's raining, so I have to be under this awning over here. Which is why it kind of looks like a different location, even though it's really the same place. But to keep it long story short, basically, so in the past couple of weeks, I'm not really sure where I left off, but in the past couple of weeks, I had a job, then didn't have a job, and then didn't want to spend money, then blew all the money. Then woke up early, then had a crazy couple of weeks. So where I last left off was I was going to work for this Absolute Roofing company, which was like insurance roofing, and all that. So to keep it long story short, basically I chose not to pursue it further. So I went through the first week of training, and then they wanted to get in the field right away. So I kind of shadowed a guy in the field for a day. But there were three major concerns that I had, and I recorded it on my phone, so I might post that, I might not. But three major concerns that I had was that, number one, an aspect I overlooked was doing roofing means I actually have to climb roofs, get on top of roofs, which is very dangerous. I mean, the guy in the training showed us a video of a person dying, falling off a ladder and dying. So that kind of like woke me up a little bit to how dangerous it really is. And then I looked it up. It's like this roofing is the sixth most dangerous job in America. So that was kind of a wake up. And then number two were the cost of materials. The upfront cost was like probably close to $2,000 for special boots, a ladder ties, like a rubber thing for the bottom of the ladder so it doesn't slip, like chalk and measuring tape and holsters and all that would be probably around like $2,000. Plus insurance. I'd have to pay monthly insurance. Two types of insurance. I'd have to have life insurance and workers comp insurance. I didn't even know what that meant. But to keep it long story short, those were the three main concerns. I'd have to pay insurance, the upfront costs, and the biggest concern was the actual danger of the roofing. So after heavy debation and going back and forth and delineating and stuff, and I have half a mind that I let my mom talk me out of it. But it could have also just been me. I don't know. Maybe it could have been her telling me what I needed to hear. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, I didn't end up pursuing that. I called the guy. I asked him if I could just shadow for a week to see what it's like. He said, yeah, sure, follow up on Sunday. So I didn't follow up on Sunday. I followed up on Monday, or he called me actually, and basically said, look, I'm not looking to pursue this any further. He was very nice about it. He said it'll always be there, in the future if I want to. But yeah, so I chose not to do that. And then, crazy couple of weeks. So I went from getting up at 5 a.m. every day and going to the gym and doing nothing except working, to the week after that, completely doing absolutely nothing. I watched Netflix for probably 13 hours. So it started on a Saturday night. I couldn't control my eating. It all started with this stupid fucking eating. So I started picking out and I lost control, and then I was eating at 12:30 at night, and then at 1 and 2 and 3, and basically every hour I was eating until I couldn't eat anymore, and then I would let the food sit, and by the time it would sit I would start to get tired, but I'd have an appetite again, so I'd eat more food, which would wake me up. So I went to bed at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I had a shit sleep schedule, didn't go to the gym that day, and just watched Netflix all day, and then watched Netflix till like 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning actually. I was on YouTube or something like that, and then did it again the next day where I was sleeping all day and then didn't go to the gym, and I had an entire week, and during the whole week I didn't eat any food, so I didn't meal prep properly. I didn't meal prep on Sunday because I was just watching TV all day, and every day of the week I went out to buy something from food that I wasn't supposed to eat. I went out to buy frozen yogurt. It got to a point where I was gonna throw up because I ate so much frozen yogurt, and I just wanted to keep eating more. I spent $70 in 2 days. In 2 days, I spent $70 on food from the restaurant. I brought I bought TCBY, which is like massive frozen yogurt. I filled it up like 2 pounds worth, ate it, and then did it again and ate it while I was still in the store. So I ate 2 pounds while I was in the store and then filled it up again and then brought it home. That's when I was gonna throw up. And then the next day I went back and did the same thing again, got another 2 pounds. Didn't eat, and then like ate that in the store and as I was leaving. And it was fucking insane. And then the day after that I went back and I got pancakes. And it was like I was just eating everything inside. I was eating bread, I was eating matzo, I was eating cakes, I was eating cookies, I was eating tons of chocolate chips. I had like a bag of chocolate chips each day until I felt like I wanted to throw up. It was fucking shit, and I didn't go to the gym the entire week. And this was the first week since I can remember that I'm just like, I didn't go to the gym. And it's like, why? Because I didn't feel like it? Like, what the fuck? So yeah, I mean, that was really like, I went from here to here. I went from getting up every day at 5 a.m. and going to the gym and working out and being productive to the complete opposite of not working out at all, eating shit foods, not doing a single ounce of work, and just being on Netflix the whole time. And that was like really, really bad. And it got to a really low point. And that week went by in an instant. I didn't even know what happened. I woke up, I was up, when I snapped out of it, over the weekend, I was like, wait, I just got off the phone with Absolute Roofing guy yesterday or 2 days ago. And I'm like, oh wait, no, that was last week, 2 days ago. It was just fucking insane. Anyway, so Saturday night I had a conversation with my brother, and we were up till 1:30 a.m. or it was Friday night rather. We were talking about how I have this trait about me that's my blessing and my curse at the same time, which is everything I do in extremes. And so if I decide to do something, if I commit to something, I go all in. I go 120% or nothing. And that could be really good in some situations, but lately it's just been very bad in a lot of situations, because that's exactly what happened, where I go extremely intense, so I go here and then I peak and I just fall down because I can't hold it there. So me and my brother were talking, and he really helped reshape my perspective on consistency over intensity, which is something that I've tried to instill myself and tried to learn, which has been very difficult for me over the past couple of months and years. I've practiced it in the gym, where I used to go so intense and go all out to the point where I would run on the treadmill or do whatever until I basically can't walk anymore. And then I would do it again the next day, and again the next day, and again the next day. And eventually I'd be tired of the gym, and I would start dreading the gym and looking at it toward, with kind of resentment almost, and like a burden. And then I kept telling myself that as I'm working out, consistency over intensity, and started controlling my OCD. And eventually that became much more beneficial and allowed me to enjoy the gym once again. But I've tried to apply that in other aspects of my life, and it's just been so challenging and so difficult. And so when I was talking with my brother, he brought up points from podcasts that I've listened to, specifically from Ed Milet, who also mentioned, he brought this specific example. He was saying, if you want to start getting up at 5 a.m., you don't just all of a sudden jump and, as my brother put it, go cold turkey and go waking up at 5 a.m. Ed Milet said, you wake up at, let's say, 7 a.m. or 7:30, do that every day for a month, every single month, and then move the clock 15 minutes back. So now you're up at 7:15, or let's say he said start at 7. So you start at 7, and then you move it back. Now you're at 6:45. And do that again for a month. Wake up every day at the same time at 6:45, but do it for a month straight, every single day. Weekends included. Don't take off for the weekends, do weekends included. Because your body doesn't know the difference. And so, do that for another month. And then after that month, now move the clock back 15 more minutes. So now you're getting up at 6:30, but you barely know the difference, because it's barely anything. And eventually after 6 months, you're getting up at 5 a.m. consistently every day. And so that's something that my brother discussed, as well as something I recalled from the Ed Milet podcast, and it's now something that I'm implementing, where I just took out my second schedule. So in my room I have like a calendar, a whole monthly calendar, and I had a second one that I had in my college dorm room, which I recorded myself packing out and leaving. I'll see if I'll post that or not, but I had a second one from there, and when I moved out of my dorm I brought it home, and I kind of didn't know what to do with it. It was sitting in my closet, and so I actually took out that calendar and I hung it up in a second spot, and I basically wrote down on that calendar all of the habits that I want to develop consistently. And so I wrote every day of the week. It says 7 a.m. wake up, 7 a.m. wake up, 7 a.m. wake up, 7 a.m. wake up, 7 a.m. wake up. And reading and meditating. Those are another two things. I'm going to get into that. Basically, Alex Hormozi talks about the concept of, instead of setting goals, set habits. Meaning, instead of wanting to set a goal for an outcome, so instead of saying, I want to, instead of saying I want to gain 5 pounds of muscle, or a better example, let's take weight loss instead of weight gain. Let's say I want to lose 10 pounds, right? Instead of setting the goal, lose 10 pounds by January 1st, set the goal, make the goal to do the habits that will lead you to the final outcome. So if the goal is to lose weight, then set the habit as the goal. Meaning, instead of saying I want to lose 10 pounds by January 1st, say make the goal to walk on a treadmill every day for 10 minutes. Sorry, that was my mother. She just opened the door. She was interrupting me. But make the goal, or set the habit to go on a treadmill every day for 5 minutes. Like, make that the goal. Commit to that. Don't commit to I want to lose 10 pounds in 2 months from now. Commit to the habit of going on a treadmill every single day. And do that. So I started doing that. Instead of setting goals, I want to make this much money by the end of the year. I want to, this is my ideal schedule. I do this every day. I made the goals the habits, and I took that even a step further, where I made the incremental build up to the habits that I want to have the goals. So not only did I make the habits the final goal, I made the habits to get to the habits, which is the goal, if that makes any sense. Right? So it's like, my goal is, like I said, to get up at 5 a.m., but do it every single day consistently, not intensity and then burn out. And so I wrote out, the incremental build up, and that was a huge word for me, incremental. Like I said, that's something I struggle with tremendously, but that was a huge kind of breakthrough mentally for me in trying to build these things. So that's what I did. I made the incremental habits the things that I'm committed to now. So in 6 months from now, I'm gonna have the habits that I want now, right? Which is hard for me because I feel like I'm not doing it now, but I'm incrementally building up towards it. So that's kind of satisfactory. But so if the final goal is to have the habit of waking up at 5 a.m. every single day, now that the goal is to wake up at 7 a.m. every day, and then after, do that every single day for a month, but do it every day, including weekends, right? Every single day consistently. And then once I have the consistency, then I move the clock back half an hour to 6:30, and then again do that every single day consistently for a month, right? Every day, and then eventually that builds and builds, and by the time it's October, I'm going to be getting up at 5 a.m. but consistently, as a habit, as just the thing that I do, right? And so the other things that I wanted to implement as well was reading every day, meditation, training in sales, so practicing my communication, and there were a bunch of other ones, smaller ones, like going to bed on time, preparing my clothes the night before, and all of that. But these were the big ones that I wanted to focus on, especially the reading and the meditation. So those are the ones that I chose to implement. Now, like I said, I had a list of a whole bunch of other ones as well, but I didn't want to implement too much at one time because that would defeat the purpose, right? The point was to go incremental build up consistently. But if I incrementally build up consistently with 10 different things, it's going to be a lot harder, right? So there's the micro and the macro. In the macro, yeah, it's small consistent parts, but in the micro, if it's 10 or 15 small different parts, that's going to be too much, and it's going to not allow me to be consistent, right? So it's like there's multiple levels to this, but so I chose to stick with those 3 for now, with wake up time, which is the most important one, reading second most important, and meditation third most important, to set those as the habits. And again, the habits for now, incremental builds up consistently for months at a time, and then slowly some increase, and the wake up time decreases as the months go on, so that in a few months from now I will have built the habits that I want, but consistently. And that's been the biggest perspective shift for me, is consistency over intensity, just that phrase, right? And I have like specific pictures in my head where it's like intensity is like it's like massive curves, but then smaller, and it dies down, versus consistency is just like this, right, where it's one after the other, and that's how you get somewhere. So just pictures like that in my head. But yeah, so that's something I'm focusing on now. And when I mentioned in the beginning, when I mentioned the topics of this, I said the not willingness to spend money and then all of a sudden blowing it. The next day, number one, I was referencing the food. So like I said, I blew $70 in 2 days on shit food. But number two, the second thing was as well books, right? Part of the three concerns that I said of why I didn't pursue the roofing job was the cost concern, right, of having to buy the supplies as well as the insurance. And then about a week afterwards, which would be yesterday from today, I spent $200 on books. I was like looking at thriftbooks.com, which like you can get them used and a bit cheaper and like that, but I didn't want to have to wait for shipping, and I didn't know if it was going to be good quality, and it was like, if I'm going to buy these books, and they had certain ones, but certain ones were the same price as it would have been new on Amazon, so it was like, if I'm going to buy the books, I'm just going to buy them for me. I want them to be, mine, brand new. I can use them however I like, edit them however I like, etc. So I spent about $200 on books, and specifically ones that were focused on consistency, productivity, business in general, specifically non-skill focused books. Meaning the past couple of weeks or months rather, I've been focusing on skill specific books, specifically sales and influence, right? So I've been reading Influence by Robert Cialdini, Persuasion, Robert Cialdini, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I said Persuasion, Influence. There was one more by Cialdini, I forget which one. Never Split the Difference. I don't remember, but there was 50 Ways to Yes. I read that one. You know what I'm saying? So the past couple of months have just all been psychology books, really, like sales, influence, psychology books, that kind of thing. And I sort of garnered away from the original making money books and money philosophy books and beliefs and things like that. So I got those kind of books again. I got 4 Hour Work Week. I got The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. But the ones I'm really excited to read is Atomic Habits, The Compound Effect. What were some other ones? Like I said, big one is 4 Hour Work Week. The Psychology of Money, On the Clock. I forget who it's by. But just some like that. I got Relentless by Tim Grover. Personal MBA. The E-Myths of Business or something like that. What else? Oh, The 5 a.m. Club by Sharma. I think Robert Sharma. I don't know his name, but by some guy Sharma or something like that. That one I'm really excited to read. Again, because it talks about consistency and all of that. So 5 a.m. Club, On the Clock, 4 Hour Work Week, Eat the Frog by Brian Tracy. No Excuses, Brian Tracy. Psychology of Selling, Brian Tracy, which I know is kind of on the same thing, selling, but I'm gonna read that later on. I just wanted it because I know it's like a practical guide. But those ones I'm really excited about. It's like Eat the Frog, 4 Hour Work Week, No Excuses, Brian Tracy, 5 a.m. Club, Robin Sharma or something like that, Power of One More, Ed Mylett. And I got a couple more that I got like Deep Work, some other ones that I don't recall offhand. But that's what I was saying before, where I was like reluctant to spend money, to get the job, but a week later I spent $200 on books. And it's like, a part of me feels like, number one, it's okay, because I've convinced myself that it's okay to invest in books and courses and things like that. But at the same time, it's like, part of the reason I was so hesitant to take the job was because of the upfront cost. And like, I was afraid to spend money. And there's a saying, it's like a slang saying, but it's not really, like, it's true. Scared money don't make no money, right? But it's like true. It's like, you have to be willing to lose money if you want to make money. And so I just feel like I was playing it safe by not wanting to spend the money to buy the upfront equipment and insurance and things like that, because I was like, oh, it's going to be too much. I'd rather save my money. I don't have that much. But then I spent it 2 weeks later on books. I feel like, while I might be telling myself that the books are a good investment, are they really? because like which one would have actually given me what I want? What I really need is to, what I really want is to learn how to sell, right? So experience in selling and a little bit of money, right? And which one's gonna get me closer to that? Actually working a job and selling every day, or just reading more books on selling? Like obviously the working and actually doing it is what's gonna make me money. So I feel like it was almost a cop-out for me to say, oh, I don't want to spend the money, it's too expensive for the upfront costs, and then not pursue the job further, but then spend it 2 weeks later on books, just because I feel more comfortable. You know, I feel like I'm actually doing something. Alex Hormozi calls it mental masturbation, right? Where you're like, it's not like you're actually not doing anything, but you feel productive, even though you're not actually being productive, right? And so it's like, a part of me feels like that was dumb, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much a nutshell of what's been happening the past couple of weeks. So now I'm really debating about how to continue, whether I do something for myself and sell something for myself, or get a job. Because I was doing some more research about specific types of sales jobs, and I learned a whole bunch of different ones. There's sales development representative, there's inside sales, outside sales, you know, account manager, all these different types of sales jobs. And so I narrowed it down to the kinds of jobs that I actually wanted, which is really like inside sales, which means speaking to people who are already interested, so potential customers, and inbound calls and things like that, not necessarily going out and generating my own leads and qualifying customers, because that would be more difficult. I wanted to focus more on customers who are already interested, just talking with them and trying to close the deal and things like that. But I realized, number one, that's very narrow, so there's very few jobs available. The jobs that are available are not near my location, not near my house. I live in New Jersey, so a lot of them are either in New York or in like the other part of New Jersey, like Albany. No, not Albany, that's New York, idiot. I was looking at a job yesterday, that's why I said that. Because I was looking at a job yesterday that was in Albany. But they're in other places in New Jersey that are still like 2 or 3 hours away. You know, so that's not worth it. Like I can't. It's another big thing is like a restriction for me is the gym, obviously. Like, yeah, the commute is a commute, but I have to have enough time to go to the gym. If it's a 2-hour commute and I have to be at work by 9, right? I need to leave at 7, I need to get up at 6, and if it's from 9 to 7, right, or 9 to 6, let's say job's from 9 to 6, 9 to 6 now, it's a 2-hour commute, it's rush hour, it's probably more, but let's say it's 2-hour commute with no traffic, so it's 7 to 9, when I get home by 9, even if I eat something in half an hour, from 9:30 to 11, it's not enough time to work out. You know what I mean? And it's like, maybe it is, I don't know. I was talking to my brother about this, where it's like, well, to get a job, I'm going to have to arrange my schedule. And then as I start developing that, as I start ingraining the habits that I truly want, I can rearrange my schedule to fit the job or whatever. But I don't know. Anyway, so I'm debating between getting a job, or working for myself, where I realized, like, what if I just go door to door myself selling something? And so the idea that I thought of was power washing, and I looked at today, the power washer apparently has to be plugged in. So now I'm researching portable power washers that you have to like put it into a bucket, but they're electronic ones that you don't have to plug into an outlet, which could still work. So I was thinking about maybe going door to door and just power washing people's houses, right? And I wrote out all the pros and cons, but one of the biggest things that I did today was I opened up my notebook and I wrote down, I actually calculated it. So it started by calculating how much money I actually need to make to achieve my goal. So my goal, not my goal, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to acquire $140,000 by May 2025. May 1st, 2025, I'm going to have $140,000 in my bank account. And so I broke that down. What does that mean? That's $11,667 a month. Like I said, today is May 27th, so I did it from June 1st, let's say, right? So 3 days from now, or next, something like that. It's $11,667 a month, which is approximately $2,190 something a week, which is $417 a day, $17.90 an hour, like approximately 29 cents a minute, and 0.0048 cents a second. So my point is, like, I broke it down. It's like I need to make $417 a day. Right? I actually did the math wrong at first. I did how much it would be per month, so the 11,667, and I divided that by 30 days in a month instead of divided by 4 weeks and divide that by 7 days in a week. I just straight up divided by 30. but so it came out wrong. But anyway, so it ended up being $470 a day. So I started thinking from there. It's like I asked my question, not I can't. I changed it, from the magic of thinking big. How can I? So I asked the question. At first, I asked the question, what can I do? What can I do to make $400 or to make $417 every day while learning how to sell? Or what can I do to learn how to sell while making $417 a day? And then I switched that from the magic of thinking big. I switched it to, I started thinking, oh, I can't, or that's crazy, or it's like, and I switched it to, instead of I can't, how can I, right? From the magic of thinking big, which is again another book that I really like, which I want to get back to, is again reading more about the money and the actual discipline and stuff like that, instead of just specifically a skill focused in a book. So I asked myself the question, how can I learn how to sell while making $417 a day, or how can I make $417 a day while learning how to sell? And that started my brain. It started to get me thinking, right? And so I wrote down a whole bunch of the questions, and then I typed them up on my computer afterwards, and I started writing all the answers, which is where I thought of all these things. First thought that came to mind is those two don't necessarily have to be the same thing. So if the goal is to learn how to sell and to make $417 a day, the $417 doesn't necessarily have to come from the selling, right? So it's like not how do I make $417 a day by selling. It's how do I make $417 a day and learn how to sell, or while learning how to sell. And first thought that I had was those two don't necessarily have to be together. And then I realized afterwards that even if they are together, so even if the money I get is from the selling, commission aside for a second, let's just say it's a base, because commission is a completely different story, but even if it's just a base, it's going to be probably less than $60,000 a year. So either way, whether I work for myself or work a job with a base, I'm going to have to get my income from somewhere else on the side as well. And so I started thinking, like, how can I make $417 a day and learn how to sell? And so then I started asking myself more questions. Well, what does it mean to learn how to sell? What would I have considered in a year from now? What would I have considered learned sales? What kind of sales do I want to learn? How do I want to learn sales? Who do I want to learn it from? What would my ideal sales job be if the money wasn't a thing? Or what would I be selling, and who would I be selling for? Who would I be selling it to? How would I make the $417 once? Just one time. If I do it one time, how would I do that? And then just do that same thing every day. And actually, I didn't think of that one yet. That's the last answer I have to come up with. But, because I stopped to go eat, whatever. But my point was, I started asking myself all these questions, and a big one was, how do I want to learn sales? Do I want to learn it through a job? Do I want to learn it through courses, through selling? Through books, through seminars, things like that. And then I asked the question, how do I want to learn, or what kind of sales do I want to learn? Do I want to learn phone sales, right? How to sell over the phone? Do I want it to be in-person consults? Do I want it to be door-to-door? Do I want it to be over Zoom, etc.? And I started asking myself all these questions, and I started coming up with like the ideal job. If I could create the job that I want, what would that look like? And I'm kind of in the process right now, so I don't really have a definite answer as of yet. But I'm getting to the process, and on the one hand, it doesn't feel like I'm actually doing anything productive, because like I still don't have a job, I'm still not making money, I'm still not selling anything, I still don't learn anything. But I also feel like I am kind of being productive, because I'm becoming more clear with what I actually want to do, right? Like what I actually want to learn, what I actually want to study, how I want to do it, right? And so again, the goal was never the money, right? Now I feel like by making the goal partly the money, it kind of changed my perspective, where before it was just like I didn't care. It said the payout time was 6 months to 36 months. It was like, I don't care, I'm just doing this to learn. But now I realize, like, number one, parent satisfaction. I have to, if my parents don't see that I'm making money, whatever. But more importantly than that is, like, I also kind of have to put food on the table, and I want to start paying for my own things and my own expenses and things like that. And I do want to have a certain amount of money in the bank account. I'm not trying to become a millionaire by the time I'm 23. But I do also want to have some money, you know what I mean, to pay for courses and things like that. So when that is kind of something I also was now starting to become more clear on, was the money. But as I was calculating it, breaking it down, I realized like $10,000 a month. That's like all these courses and online gurus. That's what they're selling. Like how to. Bro, I swear it's every video this camera cuts out. But as I was saying, it's like that's what all of these gurus and online marketing agencies and this and that, that's what they're all selling, is like how to make $10,000 a month doing this, and how to make $10,000 a month with online courses and this and that. And I was like, I'm trying to make more than that. Like, whoa, that was a lot. And so part of me was thinking, you know, part of me is thinking like the goal's unrealistic or not realistic, but the other part of me is like, no, think big and you know, aim high and all that. And it's like the magic of thinking big, which is like, you know, make my goals, you know, tremendous. And so it's like on the one hand it almost feels too big and too overwhelming, but at the same time it's like I don't know, it's weird. It's like I have multiple thought processes, right? The problem is when I start listening to all these different information sources and podcasts and things from different people, I get information that conflicts, right? Alex Hormozi says that when he was reading all of the like self-help books and things like that, he tells a story. He was reading all these books and stuff, and he realized like 20 books later his life hasn't actually changed, and that's why he's now more of a proponent to actually go and do stuff than to just read about it. But my point is, when he said the story about that, he also mentioned that there were conflicting ideas, like the different books and different parts had conflicting ideas. Some of them disagreed with other ones, and so it's like I kind of have the same thing where I have so much information from so many different people and so many different perspectives that now some of them conflict with each other, and like I don't know which one to listen to. And so I have all these different things where like I have I don't remember exactly what's from where, but I have, you know, something that I recall learning about, which is like, you know, set the goal that you'll actually be able to achieve, so it'll feel achievable, and you know, and you could actually like aim towards it and try to get towards it and feel it within your grasp. Another one was like the magic of thinking big, like just set massive goals, and you never know you'll be able to achieve them. And it's like, you know, the bigger you think, the more you'll be able to achieve. And then I have like a David Goggins thing, which is like never set a goal that you know you can achieve, right? Because then it's not really a goal. So it's like, how do I find that in between of like set a really big goal, but also, you know, but I don't want to overwhelm myself by, if I set such a big goal, it's going to seem so unrealistic and so far away that I'm not going to know how to do it, and I'm just going to give up, which was another perspective. So it's like, how do I find the in-between of all those, where like setting a goal that's really big, but not too big that it's going to overwhelm me and make me want to give up, but also not too small that I know can achieve it, but like just right that, you know, it'll feel me chasing, but it's also kind of big, and it's like, what the hell is that in between? How am I supposed to figure out that number? And maybe I should sit down and just think about that number. But so that was something that was like challenging for me. It's like, is this goal too big? Is it too unrealistic? You know what I mean? Anyway, so I'm gonna kind of wrap this one up, because, you know, I'm gonna go eat and do some other work and finish and all that. So I guess long story short, that was a bit of an update with everything. So no longer doing the roofing thing. Trying to figure out what I actually want to do, if I want to work a job or if I want to do for myself. You know, trying to calculate the exact kind of sales that I want to learn and how I want to learn it. Trying to implement consistent daily habits to develop the habits that I actually want to have ingrained in me and in my life, to do the things that I want to do. A lot more reading coming up. I'm going to start reading every day. So the habits that I'm doing, you know, I briefly mentioned it before, but was like I want to be reading for 30 minutes, which I think I'm now going to up it to an hour. Like this is my end goal, but originally my end goal is to read 30 minutes a day. I don't think that's enough, you know, because I did the math of like, if I want to read a book a month, let's say average book is around 400 pages, let's say, 7 days in a week. It means I have to read about like 56 pages a day or something like that. So 30 minutes is nowhere near enough for that. So it's like, I think I'm gonna up it to an hour, but as of now it's 30 minutes, and so my habit for this month is to read one page every day, just to do it every day, because right now that's the biggest thing that I have problem with, is just doing something every single day. Like I can't tell the last time I did something consistently every day without stopping. And I think that's why, you know, that's why I always think about this one thing that I'm gonna mention, but first a quote from Alex Hormozi: most people live the same 6 months over and over. or live the same 6 months 12 times in a row or something like that, right? And it's like that got me thinking of, I don't feel like anything's changed. Like, I've been obsessed with business for a long time, probably almost a year at this point, like actually like obsessed and committed and solely focused on that and nothing else, and like everything else takes a seat to that. But I don't feel like I've actually made any progress or done anything or had any changes, and that's because I realized my habits are the same. So although my thought processes or the way that I think or my perspectives change, my day-to-day habits is the same. Everything that I do is the same. I just go to the gym and then I fill my head up with other business stuff and try to think about it and do all those things. But like, I haven't actually started a business. I haven't actually gotten a job in sales. I haven't actually learned anything in sales. I haven't actually done any of that. And none of the habits that I said I want to have do I actually have ingrained. And so I realized that's why, is because 6 months ago I wanted to start waking up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. And then I wanted to start reading every day, meditating every day and all that, but I haven't done any of it. And so I realized that's why I feel like nothing's changed and that I've lived the same period of time over and over and over. So I made it the goal, and I made it a point to just engrave the habits that I want into myself. So that if in 6 months from now I still don't have a job, or I'm still struggling, don't know what to do for sales or whatever, if that's the case, but I'll have ingrained the habits, this self-improvement habits into myself, I'll feel satisfied with that, or content with that, that it won't be that nothing has changed. I'd have done something to improve myself, right? That's more than just a way of thinking. It's my actions. My actions would have changed to actually develop myself, right? And so that's something I really want to focus on. But like I said, I don't want to do too much, because right now I'm at such a low level where Jordan Peterson talks about, like, when you're in a rut and you're trying to get out of it, you're trying to develop discipline, start tiny, like start really small, that it's almost impossible for you not to do it. Like he says, when you get up in the morning, like, just put your pillow back. You don't even have to make the whole bed, just put the pillow back, right? And something like that. Or when you get dressed in the morning, close the drawer all the way. Okay, my camera's burning out on me again, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up. But like I was saying, Jordan Peterson says start really, really, really small, like close the drawer all the way. And don't think that these things are beneath you, because it takes, you have to build it up. So I'm starting with 1 page every day. Meditation right now, it's only 3 times a week for the whole month, and then next month it's going to be every day. It's only 3 minutes, but do it every single day, etc. and all that. So I'm starting to build up small so that I can create the habits that I want in my life. I'm really questioning the exact kind of job that I want to learn, how I want to learn it, who I want to learn it from, etc. All of these things. And I officially submitted my leave of absence from school, so I'm off for this next 6 months till about January, and that's when I decide if I become a college dropout or not. But yeah, so like I said, I know these videos are inconsistent, but that's because just how they are. And yeah, so we'll see if something changes in the next one. I'll have an update for you, whether I'm doing my own thing, my own business, which I'm highly considering just because of the freedom and doing all of that. I wrote out the pros and cons and stuff, but I'll talk about that in another one. Again, long story short, that's it for this one. That's the update. So no longer doing the roofing thing, trying to figure out what I want to do on my own, exactly what aspect of sales I want to pursue, and trying to build these habits. And yeah, that's it for this one, and I will see myself in the next one. Peace out.